Week 2 edition of the JP poll is here. I'm going to remind you once more, and I've got to take on a very serious tone here because we're about to do some controversial things. Some say the most controversial ratings of the modern era about to drop. Rankings are great. The AP has rankings. The coaches poll has rankings. A million different writers release their own rankings. That's wonderful. I choose not to because there's already plenty of them out there, and most of them look the same. What I've always been fascinated by is the more predictive model, which means I really love what odds makers think on a game. And not to say that that's merit-based. It's not. You're going to see many instances, one very notable instance in tonight's numbers, of a team that's lost to another team and is still power rated above that team. Well, in rankings world, that makes no sense. In rankings world, the results on the field have to matter. First and foremost, they have to matter. So in rankings world, my numbers would look a lot different than power ratings world. Power ratings world couldn't care less about any of it. Doesn't care about the conference you're in, doesn't care about the color of your jersey. All it cares about is, out of the two of you, who would be favored on a neutral field tomorrow, according to our own numbers. And that's the order that we put the teams in. If you ask me, well, why would you do it that way? Why even play the games? To determine a winner. But you're not honoring the team that won by placing them above the other team. Well, friend, would that other team be favored if they played Saturday? Well, no, there's no but. That's it. Well, why would you value that? Because I happen to care about it. If you don't value it, maybe it's just not for you. It's just a tool, immunity. It's just a fun tool that we use to kind of give another angle on teams. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to go randomized. But for those of you who do require the visual, for those of you who are visual learners, they're right there, these are not rankings. If there's nothing you take away from this tonight other than that, these are not rankings. All right, here we go. USC, we've got at number 16. USC has not changed all that much. USC is not ranked in the top 25 of the AP poll. So we continue to have the JP poll much higher on USC than the AP poll, although one is merit-based and the other one is not. Let's go with Florida. Florida, we have got number 8. They played Long Island in week 1. Not a lot to take from that one. Florida remains virtually unchanged. Okay, here we go. Rubber meets road. Ohio State. JP poll has Ohio State at number 2 still. So, not a lot changed there. Again, this is neutral field favorability. Utah is the biggest mover that we have this week. Utah is up 8 spots. Utah, we have number 14 in the JP poll. So we have them not only as the top-rated team in the Big 12, little separation, couple of point separation between them and the next highest team. They're the only Big 12 team, I think, in the top 20. We'll check that as we go on. Next up, LSU. LSU's a big mover. LSU goes to number 5. That's up 7 spots. They were 12 coming in. I told you, I thought I may be, in retrospect, wrong about LSU. Well, the JP poll looked and said, hold my Zevia. JP poll, number 5 with LSU. Let's continue. Clemson, did they drop? Did they drop? No, they did not. Clemson is still at number 9. Again, people, I don't even know what the AP had Clemson at. But again, power ratings world, before we talk about who should drop, remember, are there more than 9 teams that Clemson would be a dog against on a neutral field? I don't think so. They've played one team. That team right there, LSU. So LSU's ahead of them. It makes a lot of sense, actually, even in a merit-based like AP rating. Michigan. Where's Michigan at? They've got to be in the top 20. 19. So Michigan's right there, and they're going on the road to play Oklahoma. We don't know where Oklahoma is yet, but I have a sneaking suspicion they may be power rated. Ole Miss. Got a sleepy start to the season. Played Georgia State the other night. Not a lot to go on with them. Ole Miss is number 17. Here's Penn State. I think they were number 2 in the AP today. Penn State is number 4. There's not a lot of movement here at the very top, aside from one team, which we'll get to. Penn State is still number 4. Okay, this may be controversial. Just put Texas up. So JP poll has Texas still at number 1. We hit up our sources to make sure that this is true. Texas will be favored neutral field against Ohio State right now. You would be free to go bet Ohio State. I'm not sitting here telling you which side I would take. Candidly, I think I'd take Ohio State. I would absolutely rank Ohio State number 1 in the country right now. Power ratings wise, model still gives a slight edge, neutral field to Texas. Think of that what you will. Personally, I don't have to agree with the model. We all know the model's been in the tank for Texas for years. That is well established on this show, so it's no surprise. Here's the one folks are waiting on. Alabama is number 12. Alabama dropped 7 spots. And I'm going to get to something in just a second. Sorry about that, Tyler. Georgia, number 3. So Georgia's number 3. That's unchanged. All right. Bama dropped to number 12. So they dropped 7 spots. We'll get back to the video 1 second. Do me one quick favor. Look down. Make sure you're subscribed. Most of you are. If you're not, please do so. It's the way we keep the channel free, we keep the videos coming, and we get to do college football year-round as God intended. All right, as promised, back to the video. I feel the need to explain this, but I want to wait for just a second because I want to give you a little comparative analysis. So hold on the Alabama part. South Carolina is number 18, pretty much where they were last week. I think, look, I'm not low on South Carolina. We need to hold on just a second, okay? They needed special team scores to pull away from Virginia Tech. So that's good. They won the game. They didn't light the world on fire. So just be careful overly inflating them right now. Tennessee is up, number 15. And I got to be honest with you, Tennessee may still be a little low to me. I still think the model may need to come around a little bit more on Tennessee, but the model does know it was just Syracuse. See, you hear that? Model trash talking Tennessee, not me. Oregon is number 6 and a 4-touchdown favorite against suddenly poverty-stricken Mike Gundy this week. That could be a bloodbath. Here we go. I didn't think I would say this, but as of week 2, Florida State has entered the JP poll at number 20. This is where we really find out who our ride or dies are. We really find out who understands what we're doing around here. Cannell has been a lost cause for years. I don't care what he tweets about this. Knowing the premise of this, neutral field favorability, Alabama's at 12, FSU is at 20. Before I give you the information I have here, how many of you have a problem with that? Not from a rankings perspective. There's no prayer I would rank Alabama above Florida State if I had an AP poll today. But in power rating, in neutral field favorability terms, how many of you think even that's flawed? Even having Bama above Florida State by 8 spots in power ratings is flawed. Now, as you say that, I want you to know something. I hit up our friends at FanDuel because we have access to this from them. And I said, hey, I'm going to take some heat tonight. I need to come loaded for bear. I need you to tell me if that game happens again in Atlanta tomorrow, neutral field, Alabama, Florida State, what is the number? What is the line? What do you think it would be? You're running the sports book right now. What do you think it would be? What would you hang as the number? Alabama would be an 8.5-point favorite against Florida State, neutral field tomorrow. So this is correct. There's no arguing it. It's correct. It's either whether you understand the methodology or not. Now, again, you'd be free to bet Florida State once they hung the number. Many of you probably would. I may be there in line with you. But it is a 100% stone cold fact. Not only would Bama be favored there, they'd probably be a slight favorite in Tallahassee if they played again. I actually don't know that people fully understand how big an adjustment that is making to these teams off of a one-game result, albeit a head-to-head result. So we got Bama there. We got South Carolina, Tennessee, Oregon, FSU. Where's Notre Dame? Got Notre Dame at number 7. They didn't drop, really. We still got them ahead of the team they played the other day. I'll explain it in just a second. Oklahoma, where do we have them? Number 10. All right, so we got Oklahoma, number 10, hosting number 19, Michigan, this Saturday. Now, that means model has Oklahoma favored by 5 over Michigan. If you account for, let's say, roughly 3 points for home field, that's the model indicating OU is about 2 points better than Michigan, which just lets you know how compressed these numbers are. That implies a 2-point gap between number 10 and number 19. That is accurate. So a lot of these teams are compressed right now. Let us continue. Texas A&M, number 13. And we got Miami at number 11. For the record, model would favor Notre Dame over Miami on a neutral field if they played today. Model looks at that result the other night. And while you may say, oh, that's cause to rank Miami above Notre Dame, I would too. Model looks at it and says, the team that was starting a new quarterback on the road finished -2 turnovers and lost by 3. If you value turnovers, I think, what do we have, like 2 3/4 points per turnover, something like that. I can't remember what the number is. Anyway, it implies an even turnover game, Notre Dame slight favorite. It's boring math stuff. Point being, it takes more than one result like that head-to-head to invert power ratings. So Nebraska is not here. Nebraska's 21. Auburn's 22. And as I said, I could run these numbers for a lot of teams. I knew we were going to get a lot of pushback on the whole Alabama-Florida State thing, just like I saw when ESPN released the FPI the other day. Some people just don't know what it is. Like, some people will see this graphic, they won't know what it is, and they'll think it's rankings, and they'll think it's clickbait. I don't know what I want them to click on, but they'll think it's clickbait. There will be other people who know what this is, and they are intentionally dishonest about it, and those are the ones you got to watch out for. You got to watch out for them. So there you go. That's the JP poll right now.